Okay, so the national park that I had was the Grand Canyon National Park. My name is Callie Mendez, and here we go. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the location of the park, and as you can see, it's located in Arizona, right here, the state of Arizona, and the Grand Canyon is this green figure right here. This is the map of the whole United States to show you where Arizona is, and then we zoom into Arizona and show exactly where the Grand Canyon is located. This is what it looks like in real life. This is an image of it, of the canyon and the Colorado River flowing through it. And then this big picture right here is what the entire Grand Canyon looks like with the Colorado River, all the plateaus, basins, what the south rim is here, the north rim. It shows all the little details of it. So that is what the Grand Canyon looks like on a map perspective, on a detailed perspective of a map, and in real life. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the rock types that were found in the Grand Canyon National Park. So if you look here to this black and white image, you can see the different rock layers that formed, the striations that formed. There are many different rocks here, including Coconino sandstone, Hermit Shale, Supai Group, Redwall Limestone, Mauve Limestone, Bright Angel Shale, Teapot Sandstone, and the Vishnu Group. And if you look over here, this is just it just breaks it down in a more realistic form. So let's go ahead and talk about the different rocks that are in here. So the first one was the Coconino Sandstone. This is a sedimentary rock, and just to mention that the Grand Canyon was formed from igneous and metamorphic processes, but there's mostly sandstone rocks in here today. So the Coconino sandstone, is a sedimentary rock, along with the Hermit Shale is also sedimentary. If you look, here is the Coconino sandstone, and then over here is the Hermit Shale. And then this next one is the Supai Group, which is made up of sedimentary rocks. It's mostly sandstone, and it has sandy shale red beds in it, and at the very bottom of it, it contains limestone, which then goes into our next rock that is in the Grand Canyon, which is Redwall Limestone, which is outlined here with these white lines. And Redwall Limestone, along with Mauve Limestone, as you can see right here on this next image, are also sedimentary rocks. Below it, we have the Bright Angel Shale, which is sedimentary as well. And then the Teapot Sandstone is sedimentary. So far you can see that the Grand Canyon, although it was formed through igneous and metamorphic processes, is made up of sedimentary rocks, which is pretty cool. And these all the layers go on top of each other. And then this last picture, this section up here, this supergroup rocks of the Grand Canyon, is all of these that I just described. And then the Vishnu group of rocks is metamorphosed submarine sedimentary rocks. So that just means that they're basement rocks and they're below all of the other rock layers that have come up over time. Next, we're going to talk about landscapes here. So there are different places that you can go in the Grand Canyon. This right here, if you see people along the edge, it just gives you an overlook of what the canyon is. So as you can see, here's the canyon following my cursor. And then also here, they have an overlook that looks from a different direction. They have these all across. Here, we can find that the landscape of the Grand Canyon has raised plateaus all over. There are structural basins, the steep walled canyon that we see here, the walls of the canyon, are deep because of the drainage system in the Grand Canyon, which is due to the Colorado River. And then as you can see over here, there's greenery. So there's greenery and forests at some elevations of the Grand Canyon, and desert basins at the low, which is down here. And this continues, the canyon continues to grow wider and steeper. And we're actually going to talk about why on this next slide. So the current and past geologic processes of the Grand Canyon are pretty similar. There has been deposition, erosion and weathering, and uplifting. So here you can see the deposition that has occurred. All of the rock layers have been stacked upon each other. The striations are stacked upon each other. And that's what deposition is. So the Grand Canyon gets steeper because the walls of the canyon get higher due to this. Over here, if you look at this next picture, this is what the Colorado Plateau, what happened. So, as you can see, due to plate tectonics, the plate tectonics subducted, which then moved the Colorado Plateau right here to be raised above, and that's what created the plateau. And also just remembering that erosion and weathering actually changes like the landscape of the Grand Canyon. And then moving on, so talking about the geologic history of the park, the Grand Canyon was formed almost 2 billion years ago when igneous and metamorphic rocks formed at the inner part of the canyon, as you can see here. So this is what it looked like. And then moving on a little bit, you can see how the sediment, don't worry about the words down here, just look at the images. So you can see that the sediment, that the area of the Grand Canyon is starting to like shift and change. So each layer of the canyon, which you can see here, has a different story to tell. So the basement rocks tell one story about history, which then the sedimentary rocks have so many different rocks layers in them. And then we get to the top, which the canyon, the Colorado River is flowing through, and then the canyon has been created. So the canyon continues to be widened through the streams that are constantly flowing through it, and it's not only getting wider but deeper as well because of the non-stop flowing water. And then the conclusion is the Grand Canyon, if you've never been, it's a great place to visit. It has so many different processes, landscapes, places like sightseeing places for you to step out on. Lookouts is what they're called, and the history can be found in the rock layers, which is very informative if we dive into it. Through the rock striations of the Grand Canyon, we can see rocks of many different types, such as metamorphic, igneous, which started at the beginning, which formed the Grand Canyon, and then now we see the sedimentary rocks that have been layered upon each other. And as we talked about, there were limestone, shale, sandstone, and other groups that can be uncovered as the layers are observed. Weather is constantly changing here at the Grand Canyon. Different times of the year, it could be very sunny and at 120 degrees, and then the next day it can be at snowing. So that's pretty interesting. And the Grand Canyon is filled with so many geographic miracles that are so interesting to look at. And then references, page 1, and then page 2.